Most people throw heavy bag combinations without realizing they're making a serious mistake. And it has nothing to do with their power, speed, technique, or conditioning. In this video, I'm going to show you the missing piece behind heavy bag training that most fighters never consider. Once you understand it, your heavy bag combinations will become much more realistic, more tactical, and far more devastating. Let's check it out. The problem with most heavy bag training is that people hit the bag without thinking about what they're actually doing. Most people are only focused on making the bag pop, or throwing harder punches or working up a sweat. But here's the tactical mistake. When you throw random combinations on the heavy bag, you're training your nervous system to fire those combinations automatically. The problem is that a real opponent doesn't just stand there and react the way a heavy bag does. A real opponent can pull back, cover up, turn away, crash forward, lose balance, or suddenly expose a completely different target. So if your heavy bag combinations are not based on realistic reactions, you're not just training incorrectly. You're programming yourself to respond to a fantasy scenario that will never happen. That's why heavy bag training must be connected to what I call probable reaction dynamics. Probable reaction dynamics, or PRD, is the study of how a person's mind and body are likely to react after you strike a specific target. In other words, if you hit one target, what reaction does that strike probably create? For example, does the opponent pull away, cover up, bend forward, turn his head, lose balance, crash into you, or suddenly expose another target? The ability to read that reaction matters because it tells you what you should throw next in your combination. A legitimate heavy bag combination should not be a memorized sequence or just randomly throwing punches. It should be a logical chain of attacks based on what the opponent is likely to do after each strike lands. And that's what separates random combinations from intelligent combinations that are predicated on cause and effect. And this is exactly why I wrote my new book, Pressure Point Fighting Combinations. This book isn't about memorizing random combos or throwing techniques together just because they look cool. It's about understanding how one strike creates a probable reaction, and how that reaction opens the door for the next target, and the next, and the next. And that's the same principle you can bring back to your heavy bag combinations. And you're not just asking what strike comes next. What you're really asking is, what did the first strike cause, and what target did that reaction expose? That's the difference between random combinations and realistic tactical combinations. So if you want to study this concept in detail, my new book, Pressure Point Fighting Combinations, is now available on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to check it out. Now, let's bring this back to the heavy bag. The heavy bag isn't going to pull back, cover up, lose balance, or expose a new target on its own. It doesn't have a jaw, temple, throat, ribs, or solar plexus. So when you're training combinations on the heavy bag, you have to visualize those targets. That's where a heavy bag striking mask or anatomical marker can be very helpful. But the tool does not replace the concept. The face does not react. The bag does not react. You still have to supply the reaction mentally. That's where probable reaction dynamics come in. Before we start, I already know the usual suspects are going to cry and attack me for this. If you think heavy bag training is just mindlessly hammering away, throwing pretty combinations, and working up a sweat like some cardio clown at the gym, then you're operating at the bottom rung of bag work. Reality-based self-defense demands something most of these frauds and delusional bag punchers will never bring to an actual heavy bag workout. It's called tactical intelligence. If you can't read the first strike, anticipate the probable reaction dynamics, and immediately chain it into the next logical target with vicious intent, then stop kidding yourself. You're not developing real combat skill. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to use basic punches because everyone understands them. That doesn't mean I'm recommending the jab as a legitimate punch for self-defense, because it's not. And if you're familiar with my channel and my books, you already know why. I'm using it here strictly as a simple example to explain probable reaction dynamics. And one more important point. There are plenty of heavy bag combinations that don't account for PRD, and that's fine when your goal is conditioning, endurance, timing, rhythm, and overall fighting attributes. But that's not what I'm talking about here. So when I demonstrate these combinations, ask yourself one question. Does this heavy bag combination make actual sense against a reacting human being during a real fight? This example is a double jab followed by a rear cross. That might look good to some fighters, but what reaction was I building the combination around? Nothing. I was just throwing punches in sequence. There's no logic behind that combination. Why would I ever saturate the same target zone in a real combat situation? A more logical sequence based on a realistic probable reaction dynamic from the adversary would be a jab to the face, a rear cross to the body, followed by a hook to the head. Hey, we're about to get back to the video, but let me ask you something. Do you want to legitimately accelerate your self-defense skills? And are you tired of being misled by unqualified wannabe experts with zero credibility and no understanding of real-world violence? If the answer is yes, now is the time to join my War Machine memberships. You get access to the CFA Video Vault, a massive private library of full-length instructional videos covering real-world self-defense. You also get exclusive full-feature video content, downloadable training PDFs, private membership updates, and direct insight you're not going to find anywhere else. And for those of you who want the highest level of access, War Machine Ultimate takes it even further with direct CFA instruction, structured training modules, rank path preparation, and exclusive specialized combat programs, including the Widowmaker program, Feral Fighting, Savage Street Fighting, and Warblade 2 Knife Combat. As a War Machine member, you have direct access to me in the comment section of all my videos. So if you have questions, you're gonna get real detailed answers from me and not some random keyboard warrior. So if you're serious about mastering real-world combat skills, hit the join button below and you'll be taken to the War Machine membership page where you can see all the available levels and choose the one that fits your goals. Now, let's get back to the lesson. In this example, I'm demonstrating a rear cross followed by a jab and then another rear cross. Ask yourself, why would I attack the same target zone with linear punches 3 times in a row? The opponent has already reacted and covered the target after the initial impact. There are better targets instead. A more logical, combat-oriented sequence would be a rear cross followed by a hook and then an uppercut. Do not just memorize combinations. Do not just throw whatever you feel like throwing. Make sure those combinations make sense against a reacting human being. If you want a complete breakdown of proper heavy bag training, I produced an instructional video that covers proper bag setup, safe striking mechanics, bare knuckle training, basic and advanced drills, unconventional striking techniques, specialty bags, and training methods that go far beyond simply striking the bag. This video is available for sale on my website at sammyfranco.com. And today, I'm also releasing my complete heavy bag training video inside the members only section of this channel for both War Machine Elite and War Machine Ultimate members. So if you're already a member, you can stream the video for free right now as part of your membership. And if you're not already a War Machine member, hit the join button below and check out all the different membership options we have available. And for those of you who want book or Kindle format, I also have several heavy bag training books that expand on many of these concepts. I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to check it out. The heavy bag is not perfect, but it's still one of the best pieces of equipment ever created for developing real striking power. And that's a hell of a lot better than slapping a wooden coat rack all day and calling it combat training. The difference is simple. One tool teaches real-world striking impact. The other teaches industrial grade martial arts bullshit. This is also where you have to understand the drastic difference between a heavy bag and the body opponent bag. They're not the same tool. They're not even in the same universe. A heavy bag is superior for developing impact power, penetration, follow-through, conditioning, and hard striking combinations. The body opponent bag does not provide that. It gives you a better visual reference for human anatomy, but it's lousy for developing any serious punching power or heavy bag combination work. And this is coming from someone who's published 2 books extensively on body opponent bag training. In my contemporary fighting arts system, we only use the body opponent bag for target specificity, Widowmaker training, and certain weapon targeting drills. But we never use it as a replacement for heavy bag training. Learn to apply probable reaction dynamics and design your heavy bag combinations logically, because the way you train is the way you're gonna fight in the real world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video.
From the ancient Colosseum, where gladiators lived and died, to the storm-torn seas, where iron met flesh upon shattered decks, to the battlefield, where wrath carved kingdoms in blood, bone, and steel, we follow the War Machine. War Machine Chronicles celebrates the warrior archetype, the ethos society seeks to suppress, to soften, to erase. From the age of iron and blood, where warriors roared defiance in the face of death, to all men who still feel the war drum beat beneath their skin, written for fighters, soldiers, and survivors. For those who still walk the edge, it is transformation, forged to harden the mind, discipline the body, and sharpen the will. War Machine Chronicles, not just a book, it's a sacred codex of wrath. Over 300 pages, more than 100 haunting illustrations, combat verse, and lethal philosophy forged by Sammy Franco. War Machine Chronicles, not just a story, but a weapon. It teaches, it tests, it transforms. War Machine Chronicles, available now on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle.